Former federal prosecutor Joseph Moreno joins me. Nice to see you.
Greta.
Is he every prosecutor's worst nightmare as a witness?
Remember, federal prosecutors in New York passed on taking a case against Donald Trump, primarily because the main witness against him would be Michael Cohen. I mean, they dealt with him. They prosecuted Cohen, and he would be front and center in a prosecution up in New York against Donald Trump. So, and it's great that he's on the media blitz now, and he's speaking truth to power, and he's talking about all these bad things. But remember, he made a living working for Donald Trump for many years.
And let's not forget, he has a conviction for perjury. Look, you know, put him on, let's face it, any defense lawyer is going to skin him alive. I've never seen a witness who is so vulnerable, pled to perjury. He's even written 2 books with names, I forgot the names, like Revenge and Disloyal. I mean, he looks anything but like a fair guy looking for democracy, as he says.
Look, Alvin Bragg, who's the district attorney up in New York, is, seemingly contemplating bringing charges against Donald Trump and the Trump organization. But again, any case would rely heavily on Michael Cohen as the lead witness. Do you really want to base your case, a charge against the first time a former president would be charged with this as your lead witness?
You know, it's not a crime to pay money to a mistress not to talk, assuming that happened. And that's a mere problem. The problem is the source of the money. And what Michael Cohen is claiming is that he wrote the check, or he provided the money, and that he got reimbursed from Trump, and that apparently Trump counted as legal fees or something else. But unless they can actually show that Trump did this, it all relies on Michael Cohen.
Greta, there's also some procedural problems with this case, putting aside the difficulty in relying on Michael Cohen as your lead witness, right? First off, it's a books and records case that's now going on 7 years old, right? It's a misdemeanor under New York law unless you can tie it to covering up another crime. What would that other crime be? Presumably, it would be federal campaign fraud. So to put it together, to
but it's not the feds that are going after him.
Exactly.
It's the state going after him for this supposedly payment from some source, and their key witness is like the worst government witness I've ever seen. I would have killed to have a witness like that against my client on the witness stand when I did defense work.
Exactly. To make a books and records case in New York City a felony, you'd have to say it was in commission of another law. Well, they would have to say it would be a federal campaign fraud violation, which is not even a tested theory. So the case right away might get thrown out even before you get to a trial. So there's a lot of problems here, least of which is Michael Cohen.
I think people are just taken back by the fact that it's hush money to a porn actress. And what people don't realize is that they think like, well, that's a crime paying hush money. I mean, there are NDAs in almost every corporate contract in this country, which it's essentially an NDA.
Exactly. Look, it's salacious, it's dramatic, it feeds into many people's appetite to see Donald Trump face some kind of justice. But if this is what they're relying on, I think it's a rough case. It's a bad case.
Why would they, I mean, with all the apparent, I don't know, maybe there'll be maybe they have something that we don't know about, but why would the prosecutor want to bring this with all the problems with this witness?
Well, Greta, I seem to think when you look at New York State, right, the Attorney General, New York City, Alvin Bragg, Fulton County, Georgia, there's all these cases that are pending against Donald Trump. I almost feel like there's a market for having these cases. Look, we're talking about it, right? It's in the headlines. I'm not sure they will ever go to be charged, much less go to trial and a conviction. I think simply having the case in the headlines is enough. I think keeping it live.
If that's the reason, that's really a bad motive. I mean, that's really bad, if that's the reason.
Look, these are not strong cases. You don't need to be a highly, introspective federal prosecutor to say, look at these. The feds passed on them.
Would you have charged this?
In New York City, not on the information that we have based on.
All right. As a federal prosecutor?
I mean, look, many feds smarter than me up in New York passed on this case. I do the same.
I will see what happens. Joseph Moreno, thank you.
Thanks, Greta.
Still ahead, breaking with its NATO partners, Poland has decided to help Ukraine in a big way, but this could be dangerous.